Wizards of the Coast have changed the way that they do card design in the last few years, and as a result, we have seen massive amounts of bannings and very unstable formats. Now, there are people who think that as a result of this, Wizards is going to have to backpedal and things are going to get better, but I genuinely believe that we're actually going down the darker path and things are going to get worse. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. We are here today to talk about Magic design, the fire concept, and the unfortunate way it appears things are going to go. Now, before I dive into that, I do want to respond to a response video that was just released today. So, over on the Unhinged Magi channel, they released a response to my recent video talking about YouTubers wandering away from Magic. Now, I know both, if you guys haven't heard of Unhinged Magi, it's essentially Open Boosters, the dude who opens really old school Magic product, and Edwin the Magic Engineer. Now, both of those are like friend channels of my channel, so these guys are now working together, right? And they're doing videos that kind of feel like what I do here in terms of just conversational, not worrying about the editing and all that other stuff, although they do have a little bit of editing, and that's what I want to talk about, because I don't think they realized that they insulted me in their response video. Okay, guys, if you're watching, I got a couple hints for you. I'm even going to go and leave a comment on your video so you come and check this out. Listen up, boys, because I got a couple things to say, okay? First is don't insult me. I don't like it, all right? You guys probably didn't know. So when you watch their video, they start talking about how I have my names kept changing, and what they like to do is put a Magic card up on the screen that references whatever they're talking about, right? So they decided to use this blue instant or interrupt from back in the day that lets you change land types. But here's the thing: the name of the card is Magical Hack. They're literally calling me a hack. They put it right up on the screen. Secondly, you guys, and this has nothing to do with me specifically, stop putting the card image right in the middle of the screen on top of both you guys. Have it slide across the screen, put it in the corner. Every time a card pops up on the screen during your guys' videos, I think it's an editing error, okay? And also, if you're gonna put a card that's a split card with two cards, rotate it so people can read it. Don't put it on sideways. What are you doing? Anyways, let us move on to the subject at hand, all right? We're here to talk about Wizards' newish fire design philosophy, okay? So, back in the day, before this design philosophy, and I do not like it, but before this design philosophy, Wizards tried to keep things more balanced. For a long time, I think they were still working under the power system that they developed around the time of Mirrodin, that's funny, Mirrodin and Kamigawa, all right? So, if you weren't around during that time, Mirrodin was an insanely powerful set. That is one of the places where Wizards learned one of the more modern day lessons of don't make a bunch of awesome colorless cards. It's not a good idea. So Mirrodin was super powerful and led to like very unfun formats from that block where like you either played Ravager Affinity or you played what beat Ravager Affinity. Those were your two options. Wow, a format where there's only one or two decks? What does that sound like? What we're living now, right? So, Mirrodin was super powerful. To offset that, Wizards of the Coast basically made Kamigawa weaker intentionally. And what this did is it watered down the power level once you end up with the two sets together. Once Kamigawa started to enter into Standard, it weakened the power level overall. And from that point forward, Wizards put more effort into making sure that sets were balanced by using, as far as I understand it, a power point system where you distribute the points of power. You go, okay, this is a really powerful card. So for example, Oko from Throne of Eldraine would be assigned a high number of points because he's a powerful card. We're going to talk more about him in this video. But anyways, so by having these points, it's basically, if you want to make another powerful card, you have to take power away from somewhere else. So they had a power threshold that they weren't willing to go above to keep balanced environments, right? To make it so that Standard specifically was balanced and playable. Now they have a new acronym which is fire. It's supposed to be like, what is it? Fun, interesting, replayable, and exciting, I believe is what those stand for. But it is amazing that it's actually fire, because that's what they did to standard. Like, it's a joke underneath. They set standard on fire. Standard now is just an awful format, right? For the last like year and a half or so, we've been plagued with crazy amounts of bans and unplayable formats where it's like, basically, unless you really like playing whatever the most broken deck is, you're not gonna have fun, right? If you like variety, if you like balanced formats, forget it. And there's always going to be the strongest stuff in a format, but we could really see it when Throne of Eldraine came along, specifically with Oko, right? Oko just grabbed the meta and was like, what's up? You know, like Oko dominated more and more and more. And we were given excuses that I don't even think I believe anymore. At the time, they said, oh, you know what? We didn't realize Oko would be so strong because we didn't test him from like a defensive capability. We didn't think of you using the ability on your opponent's stuff. And I accepted that at the time, where I was like, oh, I guess they just didn't know. But I don't really believe it anymore. I think they just intentionally make these super powerful cards and will just tell us whatever we need to hear afterwards and go, gee, sorry, we're just dumb. It wasn't intentional. But it very clearly does feel intentional at this point, right? Like, we're going through a cycle. Omnath completely like ruined standard, right? Omnath did that, right? Not, and then like, that's Oko. Oko was last year. Omnath just did it again, right? So when a format's being ruined, what do? They come in with the ban hammers. But what do they also do? They kind of hold back with the ban hammer because they want to keep selling the current cards. One of the reasons, like one of the negative downsides from this all is supposed to be that if Wizards messes up and like completely makes standard unplayable, then they have to ban cards. They don't want to do that because that hurts their bottom line, right? That banning a card crushes the value of the card. Or that's how it used to be. That's not the reality we're living in anymore. Omnath, right? Omnath has been banned, and yet he is still a $20 to $25 card. Now I'm talking Canadian prices, so give or take, that may sound a little high to you if you're in America because your guys' money is worth more than ours, but regardless, Omnath is still a $20 to $25 card after being banned. And Oko, oh Lord, foil Okos right now are going for $150, $200. Regular Okos, $30 to $40. A year later, and have being banned from standard. Why? Because of the power level of the card, right? So the sort of market punishments that Wizards of the Coast would feel as a natural side effect of not keeping things balanced is thrown out the window when they go so overbalanced. Like, basically what I'm trying to say is, in the past, card prices would tank when they got banned out of standard because those cards didn't reach into other formats because they weren't quite powerful enough. And there's a reason we didn't see nearly as many bans, because Wizards didn't push the power level. Now they're pushing the power level so hard that the cards are so lopsided and insanely powerful that they'll reach into the oldest formats of Magic. On top of hitting Commander and Modern, they'll reach back into Legacy and Vintage. Like, Oko is powerful enough to be played in a deck that uses Black Lotus and all these other insanely old, powerful cards. That's the level of power they're designing now. And as a result, it disrupts standard horrifically, right? It certainly does. But it doesn't cause the card to tank. Like, sure, Oko's price dipped a little bit after he got banned, but people just started rushing in and buying him up. Almost instantly, his price started trending upwards. His price went down a little more before he got banned, and then afterwards it went up. That's not how things have functioned in the past. And now with Omnath doing roughly the same thing, we're seeing a trend that they are sure to be noticing at Wizards of the Coast. If you don't think that they have economists and other individuals who are literally just hired at the company to fully pay attention to the secondary market value of cards and do all these arcane calculations to determine what should be where, if you think that they're not aware that this is working and they don't know that Oko, sure, it messed up standard for a bit of time, but hey, we let it run rampant for a while, then we banned it, we made a bunch of sales in the first place, and now it's skyrocketed up. They can easily already reprint Oko in something like a double master set or like a Modern Horizon set, like some set where the packs cost more money and you have a chance of getting higher end cards. And they just made Oko last year. So they are generating significant, what's the term for it? Significant theoretical revenue, I suppose, on the secondary market. They're generating secondary market value increases through this new philosophy. And the company right now is purely obsessed with cranking the numbers as hard as possible, getting the money that's coming in as high as possible, because they're about midway through a 5-year plan to double Magic's revenues, right? That's like literally the mandate that Wizards of the Coast has been given. Double how much money this company makes in the next 5 years. And we're in the middle of that. And they're seeing, oh, look, Oko's going up in value. We can already reprint this guy. It's this sort of, they're going to look at this and say, from a financial standpoint, from the guys at the top who only talk money, because that's how it works. Whoever's up at the very, very tippy top of Wizards of the Coast, the only thing they're talking about is the money that's coming in. Player dissatisfaction, oh, are players 20% more upset? Who cares? Revenue's up 50%. Who cares? Are 20% more players upset? Revenue's up 3%. Who cares? We're making more money. That is the mentality of the company. So there's no way that this fire development technique is going away. Why would it? They get to make a new set with these crazy flashy cards. People go crazy buying a bunch of the set, get a bunch of copies of the card, and then Wizards bans it. And oh, are you upset? Who cares? The cards still have a good chunk of value on the secondary market. They don't even drop by 50% of their price initially when the ban happens. It's crazy. These are ban resilient cards, and the only way they can be that resilient is by being overpowered. Now, how do you top overpowered cards, my friend? How do you do that? The answer is you make more overpowered cards. This essentially becomes a race to the bottom of broken insanity, where they just make more and more crazy powerful cards. You can see it in Commander Legends. If you pay attention to what's in there, the Wizards doesn't care. They don't care if your format is wonky or playable. All they care is about getting that initial gut reaction where you go, oh my God, I want this, and you just buy it. So we're entering into the era of unprecedented power creep. And this is going to happen for years because it takes a long time for the numbers to really catch up and for them to go, oh, wait a minute. Have what we've been doing, is this actually having a negative impact on the game? That's not good. Oh no, our revenue's starting to go down, but that'll happen in a number of years. So for now, it's all boom times, push harder, dig deeper. Who cares if we crack the foundations of the earth, split it apart and chasing profits? It's that kind of mentality. So I really do think we're going to have a number of years of insane power creep, busted stuff, crazy amounts of bannings. Get used to it. The last year and a half where we've had bannings like clockwork compared to the years of silence where we barely had any bannings, this is our new reality, my friends. I'm not a fan of it, but I'm also not going to lie and pretend like I don't see what's going on. Wizards of the Coast is going to push harder and harder on the power level. They don't care about balance. They don't care about any of that. The Walking Dead Secret Lair is another perfect example where they knew if they made it silver bordered that they would have to deal with Rule 0 for commanders and all this other stuff. So they just went, you know what, make them black bordered. Who cares? They can just deal with the fallout. It's not our problem. That's the new paradigm of Wizards of the Coast. And unfortunately, it's a genuinely unpleasant outlook. I have no idea how long it will take for a course correction, but I expect that we will be in this sort of setup for at least another 3 years, 3 to 5 years of this. And from that point, the real question is, do they start to course correct better, or do they get desperate and pull the throttle even harder and we go even deeper into the insanity? I really don't know what it's going to be at the end. But either way, I wanted to share my thoughts on this. There was a cool commander that I saw as well, this awesome Kobold commander I had considered talking about, but I wanted to get this out of my mind first, so maybe we'll do the kobold thing tomorrow, or maybe we'll talk about it in live streams or whatever. Speaking of live streams, my friends, I have a box here. If you're somebody who likes old school Magic, like, I don't know, for example, maybe the Chandelar game, you don't want to miss tonight's live stream, all right? So, thanks for coming by, everybody. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Unhinged Magi, I am not a hack, all right? So, if you like what I'm doing, like, comment, subscribe. It's all great for the channel. If you love what I'm doing, jump on my Patreon. I'm going to put a link up to the newest lore video over on my Magic lore channel. You guys need to see this. The story is getting amazing, and the next couple installments are going to be mind-blowing. Urza goes to massive battle. I love it. Anyways, that's all I have to say for now. Goodbye, my friends.